guys, welcome to the start of a new vlog. I haven't vlogged in a long time, and last time I did it was for a readathon. I did a bunch of readathons in July and August, and I didn't fully enjoy the experience just because I think the combination of having to read a specific amount of books in a specific time doesn't really work for me. It's a little too much pressure. So I decided to try this new format of doing a reading vlog. I think I'm going to make this a week-long vlog, and I'm just going to share with you what I'm reading. I'm not really trying to cram specific books into this vlog. I'm just going to read what I read and tell you about it. Today is a Monday and I'm pretty much done for the day, so I can move on to other things. So I'm going to edit one video or maybe two that I filmed last week. So in terms of books, I'm currently in the middle of two books, right? I am right in the middle of Bringing Down the Duke that I'm reading for a buddy read with Crystal. I'm enjoying it. It's a little not what I expected it to be, but I'm excited to see where the story goes. So I also have a free Scribd membership that ends on Friday. And so before Friday, I'm going to try and listen to as many audiobooks that I can that I found on Scribd that I can get in the library. I'm currently finishing The Body Keeps the Score. It's a book about trauma, how it manifests itself in our bodies, in our brains, how it, changes behavior, and different types of therapy that people can do that experience trauma, and how there's different kinds of trauma. It's very, very, very interesting. It's a little it's a harder read than I expected just because of the topic. He talks about people that he's worked with, and there are a lot of, stories that he shares that are just a little, it's harrowing to hear what, people do to each other, especially to kids, and how it then manifests itself in their lives. I surprised myself by seeing myself in several of these sort of symptoms, I guess, of having trauma. Anyway, it's just very interesting, and if you're at all interested in, therapy, psychology, check it out. Let's get into the vlog.
Scholastic Audio presents The Music of What Happens by Bill Konigsberg, read by Anthony Ray Perez and Joel Frumkin. Chapter 1, Max. There's this thing my dad taught me when I was a kid. One time, when I was 8.
So I just had lunch, and earlier today I finished The Body Keeps the Score, which I gave 5 stars. It was great, but I think I will have to revisit this book in maybe a year or two. Hopefully get a physical copy, and because it's a lot of information and I grasped the whole thing in general, but I'll need some time for all this information to settle down and then go over the things that I especially want to go over. And now I've started the music of what happens on script. Why? I mean, I know why, but I thought this book was about music. It's not, but it's about a food truck. Uh, there's a boy, Jordan, whose father passed away and left his food truck behind, and his mother is not coping well, and they're trying to, work the food truck together without the father, and they're struggling a lot. And then there's the boy Max, who goes to school with Jordan, but they don't really know each other that well, and he needs a job for the summer, and so he volunteers to help them save their food truck and eventually save their family from bankruptcy. I have a dentist appointment today, which I am trying to feel okay about. The thing that happens with the anesthesia is that it sometimes, not that it doesn't work, but it's not strong enough, and so we wait for it to take hold, and then they start working and it still hurts. So that is one of the things that happens, that has happened many times. And I hate that so much because I don't trust the anesthesia anymore. And last time I had to do like a surgery type thing on one of my wisdom teeth, and they had to inject the anesthesia like 5 times because they just kept bumping into things that I kept like feeling, and it was so painful, and it was just a traumatic experience. So now I'm scared of anesthesia not working. I'm back. It's done. It's over. My anesthesia is already completely gone. So I was able to eat dinner, and it hurt really bad at first when the anesthesia was leaving my body, but it's okay now. I mean, I also took a painkiller for it. And now I'm going to have a quiet evening of doing chores. I'm going to iron, and I will continue listening to the music of what happens. It's good so far. I'm not fully sure if I understand the like vibe of it, but so far I'm excited to see what happens next. So as you saw today, I made pumpkin soup, and it's okay. It's a little watery, so I need to figure out what to do with that. But otherwise it came out great, and I've been doing lots of work, and now it's 4 p.m. and I think I want to go on a walk because it's supposed to be super warm today. It is super warm today, and it's one of like the last warm days we'll have. Apparently on Sunday we're supposed to get our first snow, which I'm not looking forward to because I don't like anything cold. And I'm gonna continue listening to audiobooks. I finished the music of What Happens today, and I did not expect to love this book as much as I did. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's not that kind of YA romance where everything is about the romance. Like the thing about the book was not me wanting these guys to, end up together and finally figure out that they love each other or something. That's not that kind of book. This is just a story of how they met and how both of them are dealing with very pretty big things on their own. But then they meet and they start working together, and they develop feelings and they get together, and it just shows how they help each other deal with whatever they're dealing with. And it the tone of it is light, but it deals with pretty hard things, and I ended up tearing up a few times, and was just absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad I finally read it. I wish people talked about this book a little more, because I think one of the reasons why I put it off so long is because I didn't really hear much about it from anyone and I forgot about it. But then I saw it on someone's Instagram and they rated it 5 stars and was one of their favorite books. So I decided to finally read it because it was available on Script, and I'm so glad I did. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so sorry. Yeah, now I started the next audiobook on Script I'm listening to. It's going to Hurt, and it's a very short audiobook. I only have like 2 hours left, and I mean, it's pretty funny. Basically, it's the diary of a junior doctor in England. The guy who wrote it, that's his diary, but he's not practicing medicine. He's not currently practicing medicine, and he was just getting rid of old stuff, and he found his diary and decided to publish it. And it's pretty funny, but also it sort of shows you what does the whole medical experience look like from the doctor's side, and it's very, like, I really enjoy it. It's funny, but it also makes you think. And yeah, I'm gonna go on my walk. I've also tried to deal with my closet last night and today, get rid of some more like summery stuff, find my wintry clothes, and also take everything out, put everything back in, go through everything I own so I know that I'm using everything that I have and not forgetting about anything. And yeah, it's been exciting. I still have stuff flying around everywhere. I need to deal with it. So last night when I came back from my walk, my sister finished working and she wanted to go out and walk. So we went on another walk, and it started raining, and it was like a little bit of a hike because the park nearby has hills, so we're climbing up hills. And I walked like 15 kilometers yesterday and I was so tired afterwards, but I finished Adam Kay's This Is Going to Hurt, and it was excellent. It was so good. I mean, it's very funny, has a lot of fun anecdotes of what's it like working in a hospital, and he was in the labor ward, so there are a lot of stories about labors and people coming in and out and all of those things, but also has some sadder stories of what he's seen and what has happened. And a big focus of this book is to sort of show you what is the life of a doctor like, and how, well, this is specific to the UK, how the government doesn't really take care of the medical staff, and how they're overworked and they barely get any sleep, and that creates mistakes at work just because they have not slept in like 48 hours, so something's bound to happen. He advocates for their better conditions at work, and so it's both a very funny book and a very, like, it makes you think, and it's interesting. I've earlier this year read Why We Sleep, and though the author of that book is also British, he touches upon the medical practices in the US and how medical staff in hospitals are not being treated well by the system. And now I read this book about England, and then I have a husband of one of my friends. He is a doctor here in Moscow, and I remember one night he told us all about what it's like working in a hospital as a doctor, as a surgeon, and it seems like everywhere it's pretty bad. Well, at least in Russia, UK, and the US. I wonder if there is a country with a better system, and if maybe there is a way to learn from them. But Again, it's also not that kind of thing that you can just dismantle, because the country depends on these people, and for the system to be working, and even if the system's flawed, it's working somewhat. I'm sure that, like with any other system, in order to change it, it is to take a risk of making it worse, and I'm sure the government is not excited to do that. But hopefully things change in the future. And like the thing he said in the book about one of the reasons why he wanted to publish this book was to, educate the public on, the realities of this. So it's not just a conversation between the medical workers and the government, but that the general public is aware and can help stand for what is right. Anyway, that was an excellent, excellent book, and I really recommend it. Then this morning I read a little more of Bringing Down the Duke for the buddy read. I'm now like 80% done with the book. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm mostly very frustrated with the characters of this book. Like, first of all, it doesn't read like a romance, which is not a bad thing. It's just whatever else the book is trying to be, it's not being fully successful in that either. So it's like it's trying to be like two different genres, but the balance of them in it is a little off. And then I'm just really, really, really not liking the male lead. I think I'm supposed to call him the romantic hero, but I will not. We were supposed to not like him in the beginning. He's described as this very cold and stern man, but then, you're supposed to warm up to him and see that he has a softer side, but I just don't want her to end up with him. Like, he does things, there are a lot of things that he does that I'm not okay with. There's not like a specific scene where there's been problems with consent, but consent is just not present as a conversation pretty much at all. Anyway, I'm just very frustrated with this book, but hopefully I will finish it today or tomorrow. And on my script binge, the next book that I want to start is Ghostly Echoes. This is the third book in the Jacoby series. This is a YA Victorian era paranormal detective series, which is actually really fun. People don't talk about it as much. Well, the first one is about a young girl. Well, she's not young, she's like 20, 18, 20, something like that. She is from England, but she doesn't want to do what her parents wanted her to do, so she escaped and ran off to America, and there she meets Jacoby, who is a kind of like Sherlock Holmes, but for the paranormal. He's also very weird and eccentric, and she ends up becoming his assistant, and so every book is a different case that they're exploring. I really like the atmosphere of it. It's funny. I also forgot to mention that I registered to take part in the embodiment conference, not as a participant, as an audience member. It's all online and it's super awesome. There are so many interesting talks and workshops happening, and there's like a lection workshop on the Alexander technique, and I was so excited. If you're not familiar with the Alexander technique, I'm not gonna go into it too much, but it teaches you how to move as efficiently as possible, meaning in a way that creates the least amount of damage for your body.
So we're designed so that our head, as we were playing with, can move in all kinds of ways, so that we can walk down the street, look around, do what we're doing. When we interfere with our design, which is the thing we're starting to play with, our head gets pulled towards the spine, and we can still manage to walk down the street, but it's at the cost of some efficiency and pleasure. But sometimes we get ideas of how we're made that are inaccurate. I once taught someone who, thought the top of their pelvis was their leg joint. So, they had this tightening in their system all the time because they were acting on an idea that wasn't quite accurate. And as they asked to, and just changing, oh, it's at this other joint wasn't going to work anymore because there was already pressure in the system from the interference. But asking to coordinate head moves, all of you follows, so that you remove the interference, then they could start moving at the actual joint.
It's now 11 p.m. and I just got home from acting and I'm really tired and I just want to take my makeup off and go to bed. I didn't read today. I just read a little bit in the morning, Bringing Down the Duke, but actually did not progress in any other book. So this has been a bad reading day, but I did upload a video, so yay! I will see you tomorrow. Good evening. It's almost 10 p.m. and I have to get to bed. Tomorrow we're waking up early and we're gonna spend pretty much all day with our parents. And on Sunday, our body read with Crystal of Bringing Down the Duke ends and we have a discussion. So I have to finish Bringing Down the Duke before that happens. So I think I'm going to go to bed now and read a little bit of it before bed and try to squeeze in as much of that book as I can tomorrow so I don't have to worry about it anymore. The reason why it's taking me so long is, as I said, it's a little frustrating to me the way the plot is progressing right now, the way the characters are behaving, but I do want to finish that book. And today I actually got to listen a little bit of an audiobook. I was listening to Ghostly Echoes. I'm almost done with that book, so I'm anticipating finishing it tomorrow. And yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. Good night. Good evening. It's now Saturday night and I've spent most of my day with my family. We went on walks and we stayed inside and watched documentaries and stuff, and then we went grocery shopping. So I'm only recently home and I think I want to end this vlog here because I actually finished everything that I was reading. Even though I was with my family all day, I somehow managed to finish 3 books. So I finally finished Bringing Down the Duke, which I ended up giving 2 stars. I really did not like that book. At the point of like 70% being done with it, I realized that if it weren't for the body read, I would have DNF'd it for sure. It just very much felt like the author came up with a plot and then manipulated the characters to follow it. There were lots of times when the characters would just do things that didn't make sense for them to do, or yeah, I mean, even like the main female character, she's a suffragist, and at times she's described and she acts very defiant and strong and feministic and outspoken, but then at crucial moments she acts like a completely different person and it just feels like she's only defiant when the plot needed her to be, if that makes sense. And we were actually discussing this book with Crystal and Rosie, and we all just ended up not liking it, being disappointed by it. We're right now having a conversation also about how consent is handled, or should I say not really handled in this book, which I really did not appreciate. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this book anymore. I felt like I wrote a whole essay in our chat when we were discussing it, and I just want to move on with my life and forget about this book. Next, I finished Ghostly Echoes, which is the third novel from the Jacoby series, and actually, there's a fourth one. I think the fourth is the last one, and I really enjoyed it. It feels like the first two were more, if not standalone, but kind of that detective series where there is a new case. And in this one, we're sort of taking some information and bits and pieces from the first two books that were side stories there, and they're all starting to resolve in this third book. And by the end of the third book, everything is assembled to take down like the main bad guys of that world, which is what the fourth book will be about, is what I'm guessing. Just like concluding all of this story. But I keep enjoying this series. I think I gave all the books 4 stars, and this one was also 4 stars. The setting of North America in the Victorian era is great for this sort of paranormal setting, because Jacoby, the paranormal detective, he is a seer. He sees things that other people don't. So like he sees pixies and fairies and whatever mythical thing is around us, he sees them. And having a setting being a place where a lot of people have immigrated to from a lot of different countries and cultures, it's very cool because because the book incorporates so many myths from so many different cultures, and I really enjoy that. So I finished that one, 4 stars. And so apart from Ghostly Echoes, I also today listened to 'Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas. This is the same author of This Is Going to Hurt. It's like a continuation, like it's the same thing as This Is Going to Hurt, but it's all stories that are connected to Christmas time, or that happened around Christmas time, that he just did not include in the first book. And it's very short. It was only 2 hours long as an audiobook. And if you enjoyed This Is Going to Hurt, it's literally just more of that. It was very funny and I really enjoyed it, and I gave that 5 stars. And to wrap up what I read this week, I started the week off by finishing The Body Keeps the Score, which I loved. I read The Music of What Happens, which I was not expecting to love as much as I did. This Is Going to Hurt, which was so funny and so great. Bringing Down the Duke, which was a 2 star, and I hated it and I never want to hear about it again. Ghostly Echoes, which were great. 4 stars. It's perfect for what it is. And 'Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas, which is another 5 stars because it's again perfect for what it is. I think this is a good reading week. It was also my very first buddy read with the incredible Crystal and Rosie. I will link their channels in my description box. And even though I didn't end up enjoying the book, I enjoyed the experience. I loved having a group chat where we were sharing our reactions to certain parts of the book, and it was just a great experience. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, this is it for now. I am going to bed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.